This is a weird beginning. I appreciate you guys stopping in. Cheers. It is currently 6:30 in the morning. It is something close to 29, 30, something like that degrees Fahrenheit outside. I am back in the workshop. I desperately need a haircut, and I'm waiting for a very small fire in my wood stove here to get it going so that I can warm this place up. I will say that the workshop, for those who remember last year's projects in here, putting up the walls and all the, French cleats and all that stuff. One of the parts of that process that I didn't focus on so much was the fact that I insulated the actual barn for the first time. It's doing really well. Now, the insulation that I used is R19 that I pulled out of another project. So it did have some uh, material in it that probably wouldn't be something you want in your house, namely mouse detritus. I cleaned most of it out, but it's a barn. It's going to have mice. It is what it is. The reason I'm making this video the way that I'm making it is because things have changed in the last several months that have made making videos kind of friction heavy for me. I used to use Adobe programs for pretty much everything. I've been using them since 2001. And so I've got a lot of heritage history, whatever you want, with those programs and know them very well. I know I wasn't like the best editor in the world with Premiere, but it was something that felt very familiar to me, and it meant that I could just hop on and quick edit something up and whatnot. But if you aren't familiar with the Adobe programs, they're fantastic works, but they are inherently meant for, like, I guess meant for businesses, really. And back in the day, it was a college thing you could get access to. And now it's something where if you aren't a student, it's pretty costly. Hi, by the way, I've got a cat here with me. This is one of the things that we do now is Maury and I will come into the barn and she'll wander around and look at stuff. That's her butt. Anyhow, so Adobe is, they used to be a thing that you could buy the software as a kit. You'd buy it like, I think it was like an industrial pricing was something like $500, and it would be good for, several years. You could continue using it beyond that, but their newest version would come out every 2 years, I believe, or every 3 years. I can't remember now what their cycle was. And a couple of years back, they went to the subscription model, like basically everybody else has. And at that time, if you wanted to do photo editing with Photoshop and Lightroom, you could get a package deal for like $20 a month. And that felt like an okay thing. I was doing a lot of photo stuff back then. It was still a hobby. I made some money off of it, but it was still a hobby. But I never really felt like I was making enough to counter the amount of money that I was spending on that software on a monthly basis. Because if you looked at it over the course of a year, it was still adding up to somewhere close to what you would have spent if you were buying a release every 2 years, right? So you weren't saving any money by doing a monthly. And then I had uh, a time there during the pandemic where I was doing classes online, had a student ID, and I signed up for the Adobe suite with my student ID, which meant I got a student discount. That was good for, I think, 2 years or something like that. And then I just never corrected them. I guess I'm the bad guy here, but I'll just throw it on Adobe. The software suite that I was getting was access to basically everything, and I got access to basically everything in their suite. That included Premiere and Photoshop and Illustrator and all that stuff for like $20 a month, and that was great. That was sustainable for me to be able to, explore more of this production side of things. But then last fall, I got laid off from that work that I was doing, and I've had to pick up other work in between. It doesn't pay quite as well, and Adobe then was like, yeah, you're not a student anymore, and this monthly service that you've been getting, it's now going to be almost $80 a month. And I'm like, that's unsustainable. So I canceled my Adobe account, and took, basically it was like a stab to the heart, because there's a part of me that knows that software. It feels like kind of that home away from home, because I've been, except for this house that we now own, I've been traveling and whatnot for my work for most of my life. And sorry, it's cold, so I'm getting a nasal drip right now. But the end result is that I kind of was left in the lurch. Like, what do I do? I tried Canva. It wasn't quite as intuitive for nonlinear editing. It felt like you could snap things together, but you had to be online to do it. And I really wanted just something that was an offline system. So A couple of years ago, I had tried, before getting that full Adobe suite with the student discount, I had tried using Blender as a nonlinear editor and never really got into the, got the feel for it. I know that's something you can use it for, but it just never felt right. So the reason I'm talking about all of this is because this video begins the time in which I'll be using a different software suite to make my videos moving forward. And that is, it's not a software suite at all. It's a list of programs that are open source, free programs that directly one-to-one replace or attempt to one-to-one replace the Adobe suite of programs. That includes Kdenlive for a Premiere equivalency. I've been working with it. There's some friction there, but it is functional. That includes Glaxamate. That includes Friction, actually, is one of the names of the things. I replaced the Adobe PDF Reader with one that I've now forgotten. Sumatra, I think is the name of it. I'll put a list together in the description for all of the programs that I'm now using that are direct one-to-one replacements for the Adobe suite. And I'll be frank with you guys, it is a learning curve because none of these can follow the same layout and formatting and user interface that I'm used to. And so it's a struggle for me to get through figuring out how to make it do exactly what I want it to do. Now, Kdenlive's been around for a while. I think it was originally a Linux focused editing system, and I am now using it on a Windows 11 machine, technically a Windows 10 machine as well. Those systems are going to be things that I learned, so feel free to comment if you hear some weird, like audio issues in the background. That's something I'm trying to figure out, so I'm now using Audacity as well for that stuff. There's a handful of other things that I've done in the past where it didn't feel like I needed to continue to spend money on these programs when the core functionality for what they can do has been replicated in an open source system. So yeah, I mean, I know this is a bit of a rant, maybe an explanation and whatnot, and you may not make your way through this entire video. I'm just gonna try. This is something where I don't think I'm gonna make like how-to videos on these software pieces, but I will be trying and using other people's how-to videos. So if you are a creator and you use those programs or you use any alternates to Adobe programs, drop me a note in the comments here to tell me like, hey, here are some tutorials I recommend, because the internet is awash with tutorials for pretty much anything you could possibly want. What I'm trying to find is a way to really simplify the system down to get to the core. I don't need to do, like over the top special effects or anything like that. I just need to get to the point where I feel comfortable and confident with these programs. So I'm not putting off editing videos for weeks at a time because I'm essentially afraid of the time that I'm going to waste just by trying to edit them. So I apologize for the delay on a lot of the videos. Some of that is because the projects are not just small weekend projects like I did before, but things that took multiple weekends to get to someplace. One of those, just as a point of reference for those who have been asking, is the greenhouse build. It is in process. I don't mean just like talking about it. I mean like I've got some framing up already, and I'll be working on that probably later this evening. But nonetheless, the reason the delay has happened and a lot of these videos haven't come out is because I'm still shifting into figuring out how to make it work for free, basically. This is a hobby. I don't make money off these videos. I currently have, as of the time of making this clip, I think I have like 300 followers. Thank you guys. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. The YouTube algorithm is set up such, for those who don't understand it, that the creators, the channels, they don't make any money off of making these videos. And when they get to 1,000 followers or subscribers, they still don't make any money unless they have at least 5,000 hours of viewed content. Now, if you've got 5 hours worth of viewable content in your channel stream and 1,000 followers, there's a good chance you'll get that, but that's a percentage number juggling around that idea, right? And only at that point then are you even qualified to take a small percentage of the ad revenue for the ads that are played on each of your videos. So this isn't making me any money, which, to be fair, wasn't the point. It would have been nice, but it's not how this works for me. And so this is going to be a thing where I'm going to have to figure out the software to make myself feel comfortable in it so that I can get projects out that are a little bit more cohesive and a little bit more easy to understand in the video format, right? And I appreciate any feedback I can get. From here on in, just consider this an open forum for feedback. I hope to see you guys in the comments, and check in with me, say hi. Cheers.